Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm so sorry that I haven't posted in a long time. I've just been so busy trying to get my insurance license and just break into the insurance industry. I work full time, and I also am very involved in church, so it's just been a journey. And I know a lot of you out there are in the same boat. You're busy, but you're trying to start a career in the insurance industry as well. So, henceforth, I'm going to be sharing with you my honest journey and um, tips on how to survive in this industry and whatnot. My channel is also going to talk about building wealth, getting rid of debt, and things of that nature. I'm also going to share about faith, the Christian faith, as the Lord leads me to. So, yeah, just stay tuned, subscribe, and hit the notification bell and all that good stuff. So, anyway, let's get right into the video. So, today I'm going to talk about my how I prepared with the pre-licensing course for life insurance. The course that I used was Excel Solutions, and I know a lot of you are familiar with it. Let me share with you 10 tips on how to prepare and pass the exam on your first try, as I did. So, the first tip that I have for you would definitely be study in the morning. If you are a very busy person, you go to school, you have a full time job, you're parent and whatnot, I would suggest that you study in the morning. And this is because when we wake up, our brains are fresh. So it's easier to retain information at that time. Um, the morning time is also the best time for creative juices to flow. But anyway, that's not related. But I find it easier to study in the mornings. The next tip that I have for you would be that give yourself enough time to study the pre-licensing course. So when I first signed up with my agency, they told me that I need to schedule my exam 7 days from the day I signed up for the course. And I'm so grateful for the Holy Spirit because He just leads me in all things. He was like, I just felt His prompting that no, don't sign up for the exam just yet. Don't schedule it 7 days out. And I'm so glad I listened to that because when I went through the course and I saw just how much information is in there, I just knew that there is no way on God's green earth that I'm going to retain all this information in 7 days. So, if you have a busy schedule, you have other things going on, I would suggest give yourself enough time to study the course. Do not schedule the exam just yet. But anyway, that is just my personal um, um, thing that I did. The third tip that I have for you would be to watch the video summaries. So on Excel Solutions, there are video summaries, there are page summaries of like key concepts, and then there are like the main chapters. Definitely watch the video summaries, take them seriously because sometimes it's easier to retain information if it's audit audio information over visual information. That's how I learn best, like through listening to an audiobook or whatever. So I think that I would advise you to um, I'm like rambling right now. I would advise you to listen to the audio summaries, the video summaries. You see what I'm talking about when you get there, but definitely watch those videos. um yeah, anyway, sorry guys, like I just got off work and I'm so exhausted, so forgive me if I just ramble on and on. The fourth tip that I have for you would be to understand the key concepts. The course is so impacted. There's just so much information on there. You're not going to be able to retain every single detail. So familiarize yourself with the key concepts. This is so important because when you actually understand what's being talked about, it's easier to understand everything else. So don't just cram everything into your brain. On Excel solutions, there's a summary page that outlines the key concepts. Take those seriously and do your best to actually understand what it's referring to. The fifth tip that I have for you is focus on the practice exams, practice tests, and the simulated exams. Those would come in handy a lot. To be very honest with you guys, I focus more on the tests more than the material itself. I took the tests over and over and over again. And once I was able to get over 90% on them, that's when I scheduled my exam. So that's definitely a good strategy for you. Please, please, please take the practice tests seriously. Take the simulated exam seriously because trust me, you're going to see a lot of questions from there on the test. So please do not miss those. The sixth tip that I have for you if you're taking the life insurance exam is take the annuity section seriously. I specifically remember this from the exam. To be very honest, I did not take the annuity section seriously when reading through the pre-licensing course, and I was very surprised to see so many questions on annuities, but um, I honestly think God helped me. So for you, please definitely take the annuity section seriously. Understand what is being talked about. Understand the terminology and like the time frames. Like let's say when an annuity would mature and the dates, the ages of the person who signs up for it, things of that nature. Just make sure you understand those. The seventh tip that I have for you would be to know the roles of the institutions governing insurance. And I don't know if this applies to other states, but for the state of Florida, I had multiple questions on which institution governs what. Let's say, for example, I think it's called the Florida uh, Department of Insurance Regulation. Correct me if I'm wrong, but and then there are other institutions as well. So if you come across any material that talks about some kind of institution that does whatever for insurance or governs some part of insurance, please make sure you make note of that because you will get questions on that. Um, the eighth tip that I have for you would be if everything else fails, use the process of elimination. And this applies to taking tests in general. If you're not familiar with this concept, is basically, let me give you an example. Let's say you get a question that says, um, 1 plus 1 equals 2, right? And the answer choices are 2, 4, 100, and apple. First, let's say if you don't know what 1 plus 1 is, like what the answer is, first thing you would do is take out the answers that seem outright ridiculous, do not apply to the question at all. So you're going to say, okay, apple is irrelevant to this question. It's not a number, so that's out. The next answer to rule out would be 100 because it's just too big of a number to apply to the question. That's out as well. So you're left with the answers 2 and 4. If you don't know what the answer is, you still have a 50% chance of answering that question correctly. Um, it does, irrespective of which answer you choose, you have a 50-50 chance of answering the question correctly. So that's the process of elimination for you, and it's a very great strategy to use when you don't know the answer in a question, in a test, I mean. The next tip that I have for you, and this is so important, your test is timed. So do not spend too much time on a question that you are stuck on. In Florida, I don't know if this is the same in other states, but there's a way to mark the question to come back to it later on. So definitely mark the question to come back to it later on. You're gonna have I think like even when you answer all the questions, there's a page that it'll redirect you to that will tell you which questions have not been answered. So you will have the opportunity to go back to them. And the great thing with taking tests is that usually other tests would give you clues to what the answer is to another question that you had missed. It happens so often, and I did see that in the insurance exam. There are so many questions that were similar, same answers, but they were just different wording. So if you're not familiar with the question, do not spend the entire time on that question. Just mark it for review and come back to it later on. And once you're done with all the questions, make sure you review each question and your answer, because sometimes you're reading through a question too quickly. Maybe you accidentally clicked on the wrong answer. So definitely go back and review your questions and the answers and make sure that you know that those are the right answers. The last tip that I have for you would be to rest on the day of the test. Please do not go into the test after a whole night of staying up. You didn't rest. Just make sure you rest, because the great thing about the human brain is that you're able to remember a lot of information when your brain is relaxed. So after you've spent all this time studying the test, applying all the tips and all that great stuff, please make sure you rest on the day of the test. Yes, so those are the tips that I have for you. If you apply all these tips and God forbid you don't end up passing your test, don't be too hard on yourself. You can always retake the test. So, all the best on your life insurance exam. Please leave a comment if you have any question for me, and I will see you in the next video. Bye bye.